Hello, hello, hello. Happy New Year. I hope this video finds you well. I wanted to come on for a quick moment with a quick update and book review for 2025. So, when we left off last year, I was reading Barracoon, the story of the last Black cargo. And I had just started reading the book, and guys, it was such a good book. Now, if you missed that video, this book talks about the last known survivors of the Atlantic slave trade who were abducted from Africa on the last Black cargo, and the ship arrived in the United States. And this man here, Cujo Lewis, which is his American name, but let me see, his actual African name is Kazula. He's from the Yoruba. I think I'm saying that right. Is that correct? Yoruba. Anyway, that was the original African town he came from. But he was on the last slave ship that came to Alabama, Mobile, Alabama to be exact, and was captured by the Dahomey tribe. I remember there was a movie, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Dahomey. Anyway, there was a movie actually created about that tribe by, I can't think of her name at this very moment. It's like everything's escaping me this morning, but I can see her face, but I can't think of her name. Viola Davis. Yes. So the Woman King, I guess what the name of it is, but it was based off that tribe that was a group of woman warriors that fought. Well, that tribe, that group of people are the ones that actually captured Cujo and his tribe of people and murdered and killed many of the elders, but kept the young ones to sell off into slavery. And I'm sorry, there's spoilers on this book. But the interesting thing about this was that, many times I've heard the stories told from the perspective of the capturers, but never from a person that was actually enslaved. And so in this book, Jerome, she visits him at his home each and every day to get a account of his experiences from when he was captured, when he was sold, and when he made it here to America. And it was a very tragic story, to be honest. Even though I enjoyed the book, and she wrote it exactly as he spoke. He spoke about Africa. I really appreciated that she kept it just as he said it, because I think it really made you not made it easy to read, but it made it so relatable. And I think it made me even more empathetic, because he always wanted to go back home to Africa, but he didn't really have anything to go back to once he was set free 5 years later here in America. Now, here in America, slavery had ended. They had illegally created this boat, the Clotilda, and I guess it wasn't illegally created. The boat wasn't, but they were not supposed to be going over to Africa and bringing people back to enslave them. That slavery was supposed to be done. So they had secretly went over there and secretly came back and sat on the water and had their boat towed in to get by the authorities so they would not be noticed. And the book goes into a little bit more detail of, how they got caught. Many years later, after he had already been a slave for 5 years, but then he was free. And of course, what do? But he thought he found his happily ever after. He got married, had 6 beautiful children. And unfortunately, even with that, there were still many, many losses. He buried, I think, just about all of his children. Even though they became adults, he still outlived just about all of them, I believe. What I found interesting is that even though he was enslaved, then became a free man, they all still stuck together, which is why they created Africatown in Mobile, Alabama. And they decided that since I think Christianity really wasn't their cup of tea, and since the African Americans that were around them really frowned upon them in their ways and considered them to be more barbaric and seemed to not really embrace them, they created their own. Since there was not, from his point of view, from his perspective, since there was not a mutual respect from most African Americans, they did not integrate with them very well, if at all. That's why they had their own town. Yeah. And I don't want to give too many spoilers because I've already given some. But right here it says, during the period from 1851 to 1860, approximately 22,500 Africans were exported. And of that number, 110 were taken aboard the Clotilda at Owada. Kosala was among them, a transaction between Foster and King Glili. In 1859, King Gezo was mortally shot while returning from one of his campaigns. Now, that's another thing that was interesting when he was describing how his tribe was captured and how everything was, basically burned to the ground. And if you were to try to look at history books, it was as if they never even existed. His king got into it with the Dahomean king. And it was all because his king stood up for them and said, no, you cannot have our crops. We will not give you our crops. I have to feed my own people. And his king told the Dahomean tribes people, or the king, that maybe if you guys were to stop going around creating wars and cultivate your own land, you would have food to feed your people. And so with his king standing up to the Dahomean king, that caused, I guess he felt like that was a disrespect a slap in the face. And so at night, while Cujo and his people were sleeping, the Bohemian people attacked and kept the young and got rid of the whole, beheaded them. And I might be repeating myself with that. Anyway, they held them in barracoons, cages near the ocean. They came and got checked out by people to see, you know, how strong they were. And from there, you know, they traveled across the seas to America, chained, weak, halfway eating. At first, they fed them well on shore, but on the boat, it was not the same. And so in here, it also shows there's a picture of the door of no return. And I'm not sure how familiar you are with this, but I think President Obama, when he was in office, I remember them talking about this in Senegal, West Africa. And it's where many slaves traveled through. They went through that door to get onto the slave ships to be taken to America. And above the entryway, it says, "Lord, give my people who have suffered so much the strength to be great." Actually, I had a coworker that went and did some work here, some volunteer work, and he brought me back a rock, actually, from here. And I hope to be able to visit myself one day and see it in person. Here, this is Cujo Lewis. He dressed up for a picture for Zora, and he wanted to make sure that he looked or dressed similar to what he would be like in Africa. So he left his shoes off. If you notice, he's barefoot with his clothes on, but he said that is how he would be in Africa. It says here, he dressed in his best suit and removed his shoes. "I want to look like I in Africa, cause that where I want to be." And then let me share something else with you real fast. I loved what James Baldwin said here. He said, "We must courageously embrace this history because it is, as James Baldwin understood, literally present in all that we do. And the power of this history, when we are unconscious of it, is tyrannical." The history of Kosala's life elucidated for Zora Neale Hurston the universal nature of greed and glory as an inescapable fact of our common humanity. It is this common humanity that Hurston struggled to make the world understand. I want to say that word right. Let's look it up. I loved that quote from James Baldwin because I think a lot of times, and I've heard people say, like, that has nothing to do with today, but it does. In our DNA, we have inherited certain things, whether we like it or not. Our looks, and even some things on how we feel about certain things. Those things are not always just ours. It is inherited. And so our past many times is very present, whether we want to acknowledge or not, you know, and it impacts us today. I would definitely say pick up this book if you are looking for a great read. History that is told right from someone's mouth, and someone that was considered to be cargo. We were considered property. Great book. It's a sad book, but it is the reality of his experience. And some people, I think, try to negate what he spoke of, but he was there. And so were many others that came across and that survived it. So his truth is his truth. He got here some kind of way. Okay, so to the next one. Sorry I was so long on that one. It was really a good book. Pick it up. Love After Midnight, Sister Souljah. I was so excited to get my hands on this book and read it. And I know in the last book, when it left off, Winter Santiago was going to prison, and her boyfriend, I think his name was Bullet. I think so. He had basically set her up, and, you know, she caught a case. So I was excited to read this, thinking that it was going to be a continuation of, you know, what happens to Winter, or how she survives prison, or what she does there. You know, I thought it was going to encompass that, and it did not. Instead, the book starts off with her being a reality TV star. Now, I don't know why, but that immediately kind of turned my stomach, like, oh, a reality TV star out of prison. Like, why, you know? And I had to DNF the book. I'm going to be honest with you. I read to page 149, but it just wasn't giving to me. And I wonder, people were saying, like, they're not going to read it, you know. And I was like, oh no, the other one was so good. Like, you know, she took so much time. This is going to be great. But I kept reading, and I went to page 150, and I was like, 149, I was like, I'm not reading this anymore. Like, it's not a page turner for me. I'm not a big reality TV watcher anyway, but I don't know, like, it didn't even feel like it was even, some of the stuff was even realistic. I don't know. It just wasn't giving what I thought it was going to give. So I DNF'd it. I just refused to try to push through on a book just to push through. But the cover is beautiful. I love the cover with the white and the gold. But the book, her becoming a reality TV star, I mean, and then, yeah, to me, it just didn't flow. And so I had to let it go. So I DNF'd this book. I can't recommend it. But the one before it, I really enjoyed that one. It's really good. The next read, Naughty or Nice by Jerome Dickey. This was my Christmas book read. I'm not all the way done with it. I'm going to try to finish it today. Maybe before I wash my hair. Maybe after. Not sure. But really good. So I got this book. It was recommended by Bryn D. She has a book channel. I think her name is just BRYNND. But she was talking about some Christmas books that she was going to read that were by Jerome Dickey. And I was like, oh my gosh, I used to love to read his books back in the day. And I didn't know he had a Christmas book. So I picked this one up, and a part 2 that I haven't gotten to. And guys, this is so good. Like, so good. Such a page turner. And it's following 3 sisters' lives. Livy, Tommy, and I can't remember the other sister. Libby, Tommy, and Frankie. And just the ups and downs of life. In here, starting off, Livy has just learned that she has been betrayed by her husband, and he may very well have a baby on her. And they've been together like, I think 15, a very long time, since they were young, and it has knocked her off her feet. But now she's deciding that, maybe I should be reevaluating how faithful I've been to you and how honest and true I've been with you. So, yes, yes, yes. Pick this one up if you want a good read. Let me see if this one gives a little... Okay, so let me read a little bit to you here. Making a list, checking it twice. Jerome Dickey knows who's naughty or nice. With all the humor, passion, and soul his fans have come to expect, Jerome Dickey has written a holiday tale with enough spice to warm up even the coldest winter night. The three McBroom sisters have always been there for one another. Frankie, the eldest, is never satisfied. Can anyone give her enough of what she wants? Middle sister Livy, with a cheating husband, has begun an affair of her own. But does her being wronged make her new lover Mr. Right? Baby Tommy was treated badly by a man she loved and trusted. Can an older man show her the love she's been missing? When all three find themselves in crises at the same time, they know the holidays will bring them together. So Ebony calls it provocative and complex. The Seattle Scanner calls it seductively readable. And the Detroit Free Press says his specialty is weaving tales of romantic relationships, and his endings aren't always storybook. They're real. So if you have a chance, check this out. It is such a great read, and I would say it's more than just a Christmas read because of what all it's discussing. Just keeping it real. It's not fluffy. It's real, you know? And I know everybody doesn't want to read real. Some people prefer fluffy and nice, but check it out if you have a chance. And what I'm starting to read now, this one actually just came out, and it's not a book, but it's a book, if you get my drift. So it's called Wake Up to Love. It's by Nikki Walton, and it is meditations to start your day. And I love her. Her name is, actually I listen to her podcast in the morning. It's called Curly Nikki, and each day she basically has little short snippets, nothing too long, like maybe 5-10 minutes in the morning, and it's just nice little meditations. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times in the morning when I first wake up, I like to maybe pray, meditate, journal, read if I can a little bit before getting my day started. But I thought this would be a great addition. And she always says, have a good morning or a God morning. So I love that. And I wanted to just, celebrate her and buy the book because she's always putting out really great content. Let me share something she has in here by Ram Dass. She says, consciousness equals energy, equals love, equals awareness, equals light, equals wisdom, equals beauty, truth, purity. It's all the same trip. It's all the same. Any trip you want to take leads to the same place. Ram Dass, be here now. So yeah, if you are in the mood for some meditations to start your day off with or end your day, or maybe you just do it in the middle of the day, to kind of help get recentered and refocused, I highly suggest this book. I just started reading it, but also I suggest tuning into her podcast. And I guess that's like the Apple Podcast apps. I just push it each day when I listen to it. And follow her on Instagram. She's really great. I love to listen to her. On the back here, it says, first you wake up to love, then you learn to watch life while feeling love. Finally, you wake up as love, being a reflection of it in the world, serving and spreading love to the rest of the reflection. So, yes, check this one out. And then the next book I am going to be diving into this month is Self-Care Package and Healing Through the Chakras by Lundrell. Now, I love following him. I love his song. Excuse me. What is it? Oh, I've been raising my vibration. Yoga meditation. And so for me, that's one goal I've made for this year, is to make sure I take more time to care for myself. And so I wanted to get some tips and tricks, if I could, from this book, because I feel like that's something that I have not been doing, is taking very good care of myself always. There's always a lot of running around for me, with the kids and cleaning and cooking, and before you know it, nothing I have planned to get done is done for me. And so I want to be very intentional this year with more self-care. Yeah, even if it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I want to get back to making sure that I take care of myself. So those are the two books I plan to dive into at the beginning of this year. Now, I'm sure I'm going to add some more probably this month, because these are meditations and part of the self-care package. I'm not sure what all he's going to discuss there, but he says the practice is the goal. So, let me see. Let me read something for you out here. This is in the introduction. He says, your practice is your peace. The more you practice, the more you become anchored in peace. So that was I just turned to that. I just happened to turn to that page. Right here it says, when love is your vibration, your energy is your protection. Let's see what else he has. Oh, he has a diet in here. Oh, so yeah, I'll be back to share some of this with you guys. Everything you love and admire about the universe is a reminder of all that you are. So yeah, that is it. I'm going to get into these things this year. More meditation, more self-care. And I really recommend you do the same. If you are always putting yourself last because you have screaming priorities like work, children, cleaning. I said, now I understand why people pay people, or they just, have them come clean their homes, or they have them shop for their food, or do the pickups. I said I may start doing Walmart pickups again, or grocery pickups, because it's time consuming to do those things, and that may allow me to allot more time for caring for me. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have the most amazing day. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more things to come. Take care and have an amazing Friday. Bye-bye.